Today's show is brought to you by Parkside Student Residence. Extraordinary spaces for extraordinary living.
Hello and welcome to Ryersonian TV. It's Thursday, March 21st. I'm Mira Miller and you're watching Ryersonian This Week. The Integrity Commissioner of Ontario, J. David Wake, says Premier Ford did not breach any conflict of interest rules when he appointed his friend, Ron Taverner, as the Ontario Provincial Police Commissioner. Ford received much criticism after choosing Taverner for the position in November. Integrity Commissioner Wake said there were some troubling aspects of the recruitment process and that the appointment process itself was flawed. While Premier Ford is in the clear with the Integrity Commissioner, students are making it clear that they are not happy with the PC government. Yesterday, students from all over the province walked out in protest against post-secondary changes. Lexi Benedict has the story.
The anticipation has been building all week for the provincial walkout against OSAP cuts. Hundreds of students turned up for the protest, which was in response to Premier Doug Ford's changes to student loans and funding. Changes include taking away the 6-month grace period to repay OSAP loans without interest. Students from low-income families will no longer get their tuition for free. Instead, tuition will now be reduced by 10%. Naja Pereira says that having OSAP is crucial to funding the education of many students, including herself.
I would not be able to attend school at all if I did not receive that OSAP funding. I want to make sure that students, marginalized students who are going to feel this hardest, of course, continue to feel supported and make sure that they don't stop learning because they can't afford to.
RSU President McLean DeWeaver says that student attendance is significant.
I think we care, and I think we care that our education's under attack. We care that Doug Ford's going after the most vulnerable people. You know, they like to say that millennials in our generation doesn't care, but we do care. So I think it just took, the right people coming together to put this together, and I think this is really the start of something.
Crystal Hines, Community Service Director for the RSU, says that these changes will affect the resources on campus that she and many students rely on.
Those student groups are literally why I've able to feel safe and secure on this campus. And so again, we need to not just look at access to education as financial ability to enter in, but what kind of student groups and resources exist in that kind of space that are going to make it sustainable for people like me.
This walkout is similar to other student protests that have happened across the country. Julian Arsenault is a member of Fight Back Canada and was invited to Ryerson to speak at the walkout.
This really led to this massive 6-month all-out strike in Quebec. This is what made it happen, and I think that this can happen again, and it can happen here.
Post-secondary changes will come into effect in September, but that's not stopping students from fighting back. And they all have messages for Premier Doug Ford.
I just want you to understand that we're really experiencing hardships in these times, and you need to listen to the youth that you said you would look out for. I understand that it's a different politics when you're working in provincial government and you're dealing with a lot of different players, but you guys need to remember and hold yourself accountable to the commitment you made to young people in Ontario.
We're not playing. We're coming for you. We're coming for this entire government. And if you think that you have the audacity to tell our students, to tell our faculty, to tell our universities what is in our best interest without consultation, you have another thing coming. You waged war on the student movement when you decided to make a decision that would going to negatively affect us. And I've responded, and we will continue to respond. We will continue to show up, and you better revoke that decision.
If I had the chance to speak to Doug Ford, I would say, look at this. This is only the beginning. And if you don't back down, this will get bigger. We'll move to an all-out strike, a 1-day strike, 2-day strike, and eventually an unlimited strike. And that's what's coming for you if you don't back down.
Today, Ryerson saw a lot of energy from the student body protesting against changes for post-secondary education. The PC government's changes are to be in effect in the new year, but students are rallying for change. Lexi Benedict, Ryersonian TV.
If there's one thing students want, it's that their voices be heard. Gould Street was packed with signs, people, and chanting. Here's Serena with the story.
Students are marching out in protest against changes to post-secondary funding made by the PC government. The changes include the elimination of free tuition for low-income students and a tuition fee cut of 10%. Several fees that are affecting school organizations such as groups and clubs are also now optional, and the 6-month interest-free grace period has been eliminated. Let's talk to Ryerson students on why they attended the walkout.
I'm at the student walkout because I believe that education is a right. It should be accessible to everybody, and where you come from or how much money your family has shouldn't define whether or not you can get higher education.
I'm at the student walkout today because it directly affects me and my ability to afford education.
I am being directly affected by the tuition cuts. I live with my mom only. She doesn't work, so there's no income. So the loans honestly are just another added headache.
I feel personally attacked. It's definitely an attack on low-income families, which I am from, and minorities who are coming from those low-income families. I am Native American, so this is a direct attack and a continuous attack from the conservative government.
I do not think it's fair at all. I think the more money you put into education, the better a society is. The more educated students you have coming out, the more equipped they are to really deal with the problems that they're going to face in the real world, to go into the workforce and change the world. So cutting 10% on education this year could cause longer lasting damages, and that coupled with the OSAP cuts are going to mean there's less brains going into the classroom, and the more people you have in the classroom actively learning and voicing their opinions, people coming from all backgrounds and everything, the better off your society is.
No, I don't think it's fair. I feel like the free tuition in Ontario started to help low-income or minority students, or even like new families that are settling in.
Yeah, I want to say I think everybody should have access to education. In a country like Canada, that's something that we can afford to do, and it shouldn't be at the bottom of the to-do list.
Honestly, stop messing with students because they're the future.
It's going to cause further harm to education when education is a constitutional right in this country. It is written in our Constitution as in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms as a right, and it's going to continuously harm students, whether they're poor, rich, or in between.
If you're not being directly affected, let's say by the OSAP cuts, you can hear the stories of people who are being affected, and you're going to really realize how maybe they're not going to be able to afford school next year, or they might have to take on extra jobs, which means that they're not devoting the amount of time to their education that they should be able to devote.
And in fact, with these cuts, I won't even be able to go to school next year. So this is really a life or death for me and my education.
That's it for this week's Rye Replies. You spoke and we listened. To join in on the conversation, follow us at the Ryersonian on social media. Serena Dillon, Ryersonian TV.
The University of Toronto has reported that a student fell to his death on campus Sunday night. This comes as the school has been repeatedly criticized by its students for multiple suicides they say have gone unacknowledged throughout the past year. Experts have also said that while Ontario has experienced a surge in suicides among post-secondary students, methods used by universities to track these deaths are insufficient. U of T President Merrick Gertler has announced that the school is open to suggestions and opinions from students on how to improve mental health services on campus. Gertler said the university refrained from using the word suicide out of respect for the student's family. The first RSU Town Hall of the year is tonight from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Student Campus Center in the Oakham Lounge. In light of the recent credit card scandal, the RSU has said they are making an effort to improve transparency between students and the union. In an attempt to do this, they say the RSU executive will answer questions, hear suggestions, and provide updates on the current RSU to students who choose to attend. The town hall will focus on OSAP, the Student Choice Initiative, and the state of the student union and their plans moving forward. The RSU has been a popular topic on campus, especially with the elections. Last Thursday, a new RSU president was announced for the upcoming school year. Julia Lloyd has the story.
Nerves and excitement filled the Ram and the Rye last Thursday night. The campus bar was packed with candidates and students anxiously waiting to hear the results of the 2019-2020 RSU elections. Team Rhino, Inspire, Candor, and Refresh were all present. Standing out in their bright yellow shirts, Refresh swept the election, winning all executive positions. As the results came in, the room got louder and louder with cheers from Team Refresh. An emotional Vanessa Henry was thrilled with her team's win.
I've never felt so good in my life. We worked so hard.
Henry won president with 1,202 votes. Team Inspire's presidential candidate came second with 898 votes. In his fourth year running for the RSU, Adam Asmar said that while he is disappointed with their loss, he is confident that Inspire will get their message across.
And I think that, we got a lot of our board members in. We're still going to get our message across. We're still going to get our people in. I hope to see much of what Inspire was pushing for. I want to see, our funds, whatever the RSU's financial future may be. I want to see our equity service centers protected. I want to see SASL get a full-time staff coordinator. I want to see the general manager get rehired. I want to see bylaw amendments to ban student access from credit cards and leave it up to the full-time staff of the RSU. I want to see all of those things. And if I'm not going to be the one to do them, I still want to see them get done. I'm still a student that very much loves this school and loves my union. So that's what's important to me.
While Henry is excited, she knows it won't be an easy ride.
Support them. I don't know if you've noticed, but our whole slate is marginalized. So for me, this is a huge win. This is the beginning of a movement because now I feel like the faces of Ryerson actually represent Ryerson. So we're going to let people know, especially marginalized groups, LGBTQ2+, we're going to let them know that we're here for them, trans, women, racialized students, that we're here and that there's resources available to them. With the Ford government really pushing to allow students to opt out of student unions, I know that I'm in for one heck of a year, but honestly I'm very educated, I'm very passionate about the work I do, so I promise to be the face of Ryerson and represent Ryerson in the best way that I can.
Amid past RSU scandals, the spotlight will be on Team Refresh to see what changes they make in the new year. Julia Lloyd, Ryersonian TV.
In other news, Tim Hortons has rolled out a new loyalty program for customers. Perks include a free coffee, tea, or pastry every 7th visit, personalized mobile offers, and rewards on a card or online app. Tim Hortons has been working on the program for over a year now. Tim Hortons president Alex Macedo says it's the biggest launch of the year for Tim Hortons. As the program evolves, Macedo says they expect to have additional offerings. For Ryerson Athletics, it was an exciting weekend for our women's volleyball team. Let's take it over to Matthew to see how they did.
Thanks, Mira. This week in sports, the Ryerson Rams women's volleyball team traveled to Edmonton for the U Sports National Championship over the weekend. A strong effort from the 6th-seeded Rams resulted in them coming home with the silver medal. The tournament started for the Rams with their quarterfinal matchup against the 3rd-seeded Calgary Dinos on Friday. The Rams played dominantly in each set, maintaining their leads for the most of the sets. The Rams won the match with a clean sweep over the Dinos, with captain Theana Vernon recording 12 kills and 4 blocks. With that win, the Rams advanced to Saturday's semi-final match, setting up a rematch of last year's gold medal game against the 7th-seeded Alberta Pandas. And once again, the Ryerson Rams proved why they came out on top this time last year. Ryerson had another hot start in this game, easily taking the first set, but struggled a little in the second, ultimately taking the set 28-26. The third set proved to be just as tough, but the Rams held on for a 25-23 win to complete the sweep. Lauren Veltman tallied 16 kills, 2 service aces, and 8 digs in the game. This win set the Rams up for their second straight trip to the championship game. This time, the Rams faced the UBC Thunderbirds in the championship game on Sunday night. The Rams began the game almost flawlessly, recording just 1 error in the first set and winning the first 2 sets easily. Taking a commanding 2-0 lead over UBC, Ryerson looked to close out the match and capture their second straight title. UBC, however, wouldn't go down without a fight. UBC bounced back hard to steal the third set from the Rams by a score of 25-20. With all the momentum shifted, the Thunderbirds took flight, also taking the fourth set to tie things up. But the Rams couldn't match up to the reignited Thunderbirds, who took the 5th set by a score of 15-11, making them the 2019 national champions. The Rams still came home with the silver medal, and they deserve a round of applause. Captain Vernon had a huge final game as well, tallying 12 kills and 6 total blocks in her final career game as a Ram. And that's all for this week's sports news. I'm Matthew Rodrigo-Poe. Back to you, Mira.
Thanks, Matthew. Spring is finally upon us, and that means that there will be a lot of sun and unfortunately some rain. Here's Julia with this week's weather forecast.
Well, Mira, we got our first taste of spring weather yesterday, and that warm weather continues today with a high of 6 degrees. We will unfortunately be seeing some showers, not a whole lot, but at least 1 millimeter. Those showers are likely to clear out in the afternoons. Expect some sun with cloudy breaks. You may not want to put your winter jacket away just yet, though. Keeping true to Toronto spring weather, we will see fluctuating temperatures throughout the week. But first, let's take a look outside at our weather window. As you can see, there's a little plow there going to take away some of the remaining snow banks on campus. People do look bundled up, some in lighter jackets, but I think dress accordingly to the weather that you see. So now let's have a look at your 5-day weather forecast. Like I said, today we'll see those slightly warmer than average temperatures. However, we do have that rain making things feel a little colder than normal. Friday will bring mixed precipitation in the morning, but hopefully will clear up in the afternoon, where we may see some sun and a high of 3 degrees, down to a low of -7 in the evening. Get ready for some sun this weekend. Saturday we'll see clear skies all day, and those temperatures are slowly starting to creep up again with a high of 5 and a low of -1. Sunday, however, is when we'll finally hit those double digits. Get outside and enjoy a high of 10 degrees throughout the day, but that evening low will rebound back to below 0 temperatures at -5. Monday again, unfortunately, we will be seeing those flurries throughout the morning with a mix of sun and clouds in the afternoon. Temperatures will reach a cool 1 degree during the day with a low of -5. So make sure to get out and enjoy that warm weather on Sunday. Before you know it, we'll be back to below seasonal temperatures. That's it for this week's forecast. Back to you, Mira.
And that's it for this week's show. Don't forget to pick up a copy of our paper and follow us at the Ryersonian. And for news anytime, check out our website, ryersonian.ca. We'll see you next week. I'm Mira Miller. Thanks for watching.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Campus One Student Residence, where you want to live.